Hello everybody, my name is Monachi. So today I'm going to be talking about an encounter with a patient whereby I feel like this patient like express like suicidal thoughts or suicidality. So sometimes suicide can be people experiencing suicide. They kind of verbalize worthlessness, hopelessness, they kind of depressed. I have this patient that I recently I encountered. This is like she's like an 18-year-old lady student, 18-year-old girl. I would say her name is Miss A. So I admitted her in my unit. So this lady, she had like suicidal thoughts, like suicidal tendencies. She had a medical suicidal one-to-one at the bedside. She didn't try to commit suicide, but when I tried to do my assessment questions, so this lady told me that in her house, when I asked her, what about your parents, where did you come from, did you come from home or some other place, she told me she came from home. That and I said, okay, do you live alone? She said she would live with her parents, but they are no longer her parents. She lived with her siblings, that they are no longer her siblings. So I was like, a kind of, why do you think that they are not your parents and your siblings? She said to me that because they treat her like shit, you know, that her opinion doesn't matter in the family. They don't talk to her. They feel like she knows that they're gonna exist even without her. She said she knows that their life is gonna be better off without her. She said to me that they are no longer her parents. She doesn't have a parent. In fact, that she lives in the street. I said no. When I check through your patient contact, I see that you have family, you have parent, you have mom, you have dad, you have siblings. So you don't live on the street. You came from somewhere. So she kept on telling me that okay, that sometimes when she goes to school, she comes back, nobody talks to her, she's always on her own. Even when she talks to them, they laugh at her. They feel whatever opinion she gives them, they feel like she is not valid. So she feels she said that what is life, that she doesn't even think that life is worth it. So she's like kind of depressed. In fact, she was admitted because she was a kind of depressed, and the thought that she had suicidal tendencies or suicidal ideations. So when I tried to talk to her, telling her that these are your parents, they care about you, she said no, they don't care about me. And not just that, she told me, she went further to tell me that because she's a college student, she went further to tell me even in her class, her opinion doesn't matter. She feels that nobody wants to come close to her. I went further to ask her that, okay, when do you feel like you feel this more? She told me that her school work is so much. Sometimes when the school work, she feels so emotionally disturbed, so emotionally distressed that she cannot cope. So the feeling of those things starts to come up. So I asked her, have you tried to like take away your life in any means, probably by taking chemicals, taking SS medication? She said no, she hasn't really attempted, but she feel like she wants to end her life because people don't value her. Her opinion doesn't matter, especially in her family. Her siblings talk to her parents, and her parents accept whatever they say, but whenever she makes her opinion, her family members, her parents don't even like, they don't accept her opinion, and she feels her opinion is not relevant, her opinion is not valid. So as she tried to like explain herself to me, I feel like a kind of empathic about her, because trying to put myself in her shoes, I try to see myself like in living in a family whereby when my opinion doesn't really matter, whereby I feel like my opinion, nobody hears me. You can imagine raising an opinion, and instead of people to like adopt or say, hey, I acknowledge what you've said, people just treat you like trash. So I felt a kind of empathic to her. I also I felt sad as well, because this is a whole lot of trouble. Sometimes people pass through a lot, pass through a lot just for identity, just for them to be heard, as in just for them to stay real. But People don't really understand that. A lot of people really pass through a lot in their day-to-day living. You can imagine the, like me being a student, the kind of stress I face trying to work, trying to do my assignment, then comparing myself to someone that has a mental illness of suicide, that feels that he or she is not heard. You can imagine the trauma, the distress he or she will be facing. You can imagine a student, a college student, with piled up with a lot of assignments, family, she feels like her family doesn't appreciate her, with all and all going on in her life. So I felt so sad about her situation, like, again, it's a whole lot of trouble for someone feeling not to be loved, especially by people you call your loved ones, people where you stay. It's a whole lot of traumatizing situation whenever you feel like you are not loved, that people can live without you, people can exist without you, your opinion is not valid. It's a lot of emotional stress or distress. So while she tried to explain to me her thoughts and all that, I acknowledge, let her know that her opinions are valid. She should always know at all times that her opinions are valid. People love her, people around her love her. So I believe that, in as much as I felt so sad, like, what she's going on, what is passing through, but on my own part, I don't really think that I could, like, I felt like, in as much as I was sad, but I felt like I can't really change more pertaining her family, how her family perceive her, or how she perceives her family. So what I tend to do, like what I plan doing, is like safety measures. I try to make sure that I talk to her about safety. I plan to call her family, to let her family know that whatever thing she says, people should be acknowledged. People's opinion should always be acknowledged, irrespective of how small or how little they look, or how you feel like they are distorted or disoriented. There is a pleasant way to say, hey, I acknowledge what you've just said, right? Instead of doing this the right, can we do that? That way an individual feels like, he or she is heard. Also, I mapped out measure to let the family know that they should talk to her time to time. They should ask her what she's facing in her school, what she's going through, or like, try, because knowing that people care about you is a lot of emotional stress, is a relief in emotional stress. Knowing that you go to school, you come back, people ask you about your studies, where you need help, is a lot of relief. It's emotional relief. It helps to stop people from thinking about suicide. So I recognize that, in as much as I was really so empathic, I recognize that I need more trainings in crisis management, in safety management, especially for people, because suicide can never be excluded in today's world, especially in today's psych and mental health. So I realized that I need some gap. I have some gap in these safety measures. I'm gonna look out for trainings about safety in suicide. This will help me to be able to help my future clients or future patients whenever they have this suicidal thoughts or suicidal ideation. In conclusion, suicide is can like I said, cannot be like, we cannot neglect suicide, even from people without mental illness. A lot of people go through traumas. A lot of people go through stress, emotional stress from work and things like that. It's always good for us to always reach out to people. It's always good for us to accept, not really like someone tells you something you're gonna accept, but there is always need to, like, even if you want to dispute someone, you have to like constructively dispute people so that they always feel heard. Thank you very much for listening to my journal for this week. Thank you.